Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup Season Mode Playthrough. It's the NASCAR Busch Series, and we are road course racing for the first time this season at the fantasy track known as Old Spice Speedway. Again, on this NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup Playthrough. It's the Ice Shanty 300, yes, 300, not kilometers, but 300 miles around this road course. This is going to be a pretty long race, to say the least. 200 laps scheduled for this one. It is going to be a marathon. It's a late night. Hopefully you guys are willing to stay up for this one because it should be a pretty good race. We had a great race here with the modifieds before. We even ran the truck series here and had a pretty good race then as well. So we'll see what we can do. Starting from the back, no practice, no qualifying. Let's get this thing underway. Cars One Boy and Kyle Larson fan, first to be in the stream, guys, or at least in the chat, so thanks for tuning in. Matt Kenseth coming in off the win last night at California. We'll see if Kevin Harvick can rebound after leading the most laps, but finishing 16th. Green flag is in the air as Kyle Busch is on pole and leads the field to the green. Talk about survival in a 200-lap road course race. And already a little contact getting into turn one that time. Harvick got into the back of Mike Bliss. Two by two through the field. Everybody jam-packed together. Harvick makes the pass finally on Mike Bliss. He's going to try to drive it in deep. Look at how many cars he's going to try to pass. Kenny Walls gets into the back of J.J. Yaley now. Harvick all the way down low, three wide. Underneath Yaley and Ashton Lewis. That was a great corner by Kevin Harvick. And Kyle Busch leads lap one here at the Old Spice Speedway. Contact with the 113. Harvick's going to go a little wide. And now the three wide into the next corner. As he gets sandwiched in there. Craig Miller made a little contact with the 21 that time. Wallace on the outside, that corner on Ashton Lewis. Now he'll be on the inside. Oh, a little contact. Lewis gets into the back of J.J. Yaley. Meanwhile, Kenny Wallace got to the outside of the 86, and he got into him. Harvick gets a great run off the exit of the final corner of the racetrack as they're three wide down the longest straightaway. Back into turn one again. And Harvick nearly pretty much got forced off the racetrack. Gave Yaley and Ashton Lewis the lane. Mike Bliss is caught back up to him again. There's just no room for Harvick to make these passes. Another deep dive. Into the final corner, three wide to the inside. Makes a bunch of passes. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream. Scared my grandma's dog when I got the notification. Oh, Harvick, a little too deep into turn one. Completely took the line away. The 113 caused him to slide a little bit into turn two as well. Billy Parker trying to put the bumper to whoever who was in front of him at the time. And that first U-turn. Contact between Fido and Harvick. A lot of contact here early on in this race. Harvick's able to drive it in so deep. Particularly into that S-turn right there. Not S-turn, the U-turn. Called it an S-turn earlier too. And pass on Billy Parker cuts to the inside now of the 117. Parker trying a little bit of a crossover in that 66 car. Harvick deep into the U-turn, all the way deep. No penalty for cutting the corner on this racetrack. Really the only corner you can cut. Ooh, contact with the 131. Harvick got into the wall. Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. Yes, indeed, 300 miles. We're on this 1.5-mile road course. It is a shorter road course, yes, but this is still going to be a long race. Not sure how many pit stops they're going to have. I'd have to imagine quite a few. Probably 3 to 4. It's not even counting what the cautions are going to end up doing as well. Harvick has clawed his way up to 21st. Drive it in deep into the final corner. Again goes 3 wide. Up to 18th. But does he want redemption after leading the most laps last night, not even getting the top 10 to show for it? Oh, man. Almost red line in there. Underneath David Stremme, a little contact. Held up the 2 of Ron Hornaday in the process as well. Harvick stays in front of Stremme now through the next set of corners. Harvick locks the brakes up. 10 car got a really good drive. And he'll try to make a pass underneath the 107. Into turn 1, side by side. Harvick maybe going to try to follow the 10 car. 10 car is clear. Harvick maybe going to try to dive bomb both of them into turn 3. The first of 2 U-turns on the racetrack. Able to get it. Now into the S's. Into turns 4, 5. And we got 6 and 7. This is an 8-turn road course here at Old Spice Speedway. Harvick is pushing hard early on. He's up to 11th. Got back into the gas. Maybe a little too soon there, but he wanted to make sure he was going to be clear off the exit of turn 8. That final turn back to the start-finish line. Side by side into turn 2. 163 car, and now David Green on the inside. Harvick up high into turn 3, and they're 2x2 down here. The 106 struggled on the outside with the 163 making the pass on him, and now David Green is going to try to make a pass as well in the 106 car. And Harvick is going to follow Green. Green wants to get around the 163 now. Harvick slings it way wide. Now he's going to drive it deep 3 wide into the corner. Green gets stuffed in the middle, and Harvick beats him both into the 8th turn of the racetrack. Kyle Busch has led the first 9 laps, but Harvick already breaking the top 10 at the end of that last lap up to 8th. Big dive under the 123. Another pass made. 22 car starting to block. Harvick, a little contact. Aggressive move to make it to the inside. They banged fenders again there, and that caused Harvick to maybe not be able to run into the corner as well as what he wanted. He swung a little wide. He's still clear, though, of the 22. Side by side for 4th place between a couple of the fantasy drivers. Al Wiggins on the outside. Harvick sent it into turn 3. Makes the pass on Wiggins for 5th. Harvick is now going to try the outside on the 135 into the next corner. Not going to be able to break quite as early as he wanted to. 3 wide all the way down low goes Wiggins. Still side by side. Harvick couldn't clear into turn 1. Wiggins still poking his nose in underneath the 21 of Harvick. The Harvick is staying with the 135. Contact made. It's going to check them both up again. So hard to run side by side on a road course for as long as these guys have, and Harvick's in the wall off turn 7. And Wiggins gets back by him again. Harvick's wiggling quite a bit around this racetrack. R6, Oni, welcome to the stream. Harvick almost got into Wiggins. Slid the tires when he jammed the brakes. Wiggins gets back into him again. Harvick's car gets super light in turn 7 for whatever reason. Really starts to slide up the racetrack. And he pushed it a little too deep into turn 8, but Wiggins couldn't cross him back over, so Harvick holds on to 5th once again at the end of the lap. Kyle Busch ran out of fuel late in the race yesterday while running in the 4th position, but underneath a blanket for the lead with the leaders, and now we get our first caution of the race at lap 14. So caution is out. Oh, man. Somebody just got turned. And turn number 8 into the outside wall. He just got hooked getting into the corner. Couldn't tell exactly who that was. It was one of the fantasy drivers who got hooked by another one of the other fantasy drivers. Got some tempers flaring here at Old Spice Speedway, and Kyle Busch's big lead is going to evaporate. See if any of the leaders pull on the pit road. It looks like everybody's going to stay out during this first caution of the race at lap 14. Looked like something that could have been avoided. And green flag back in the air. Harvick did not get a good launch. Restarting in the middle of the corner. Kind of stacking up everybody behind him. At least he'll hold on to 5th. And he'll try to catch back up into turns 1 and 2. We know he's good in 3. He's going to look to the outside of the 135 car into turn 3. Almost making contact. 135, though, drove it in deep, and he almost got to the inside of the 112. Harvick gets crowded. Slides again. 22 might make a pass for 6th place into turn 8. 112 is going to make a move to the inside of, I believe, Casey Atwood is in 14th place. Or, sorry, in the 14 car. In 2nd place. Side by side into turn 1. Harvick almost overdrove the corner into the guardrail on the inside. Take it for granted when these guys go side by side at any road course. It's just so tough to do in these big, heavy stock cars. Diamond Jeff, welcome to the stream. Billy Kramer, welcome as well. And now the 135 finally made a move on the 112 after his failed attempt to make a pass on the 14. Harvick again just slid a little too wide. Ooh, a little bump by the 112 getting into turn 8. And that kind of stacked them up because Harvick got into the left rear, and the 112 tries to get back at Harvick off the exit of the corner. Little jam session. Kyle Busch is getting away. He's glad all that racing is in his rearview mirror. 3 wide for second place off turn 3. It's going to get really tight into 5 and 6, and the 14 lets him go. Harvick aggressively blocks the 135. He is clear and up to second place, trying to run down race leader Kyle Busch. Closes in turn 8. Busch goes a little wide. Harvick underneath him. At the line, Harvick leads his first lap of the race. 5 bonus points. Will he clear Kyle Busch? Yes, he does. Down the longest straightaway of the racetrack. Busch going to try to cross him back over to the inside. Harvick slides the tires. He overdrove turn 1, and Busch gets him back. Big wiggle in turn 2 for Harvick. All over Busch's back bumper now into 4 and 5. Harvick didn't overdrive turn 1. Wonder if he would have held on to the lead. Busch fends him off well, though, to get back to the lead that last lap. So Busch has led all but 1 lap in this race. That was the lap Harvick led right before that. He was about 9.5 seconds ahead of Harvick, who almost overdrove turn 2. Doing everything he can to try and set Busch up to maybe make a pass on him once again. Really closes in turn 3. Gets to the outside by the time they get into turn 5. They'll have the inside into 7. That's going to help. And he clears Kyle Busch. Cleared Busch into the next corner. Harvick locks the brakes up. Both him and Kyle Busch go a little wide, and Harvick will lead the lap another lead change. Yeah, I was only able to get 9 holes in today. Kind of got backed up. Couldn't even get 18 in. Oh my goodness, what a move by Kyle Busch. Got to the inside again into turn 1. That really pinched Harvick on the inside into 2. And Busch just sent it on the outside of turn 2 and actually cleared Harvick. Harvick sets him up in 3. He tries to get back to the outside of Busch like he did the lap before, and he'll have the inside into 7. We'll see if he can clear. Oh, contact! Both cars up the track. Harvick's in the wall. Busch is going to hang on to the lead. Back and forth go the 21 and the 5. Picking up where we left off. The 2 contenders from California last night. Harvick had the advantage there for a moment. He's going to drive it in deep into turn 3. Extremely deep down to the apron. He clears Kyle Busch with ease. Now he's going to try to gap him. It's crazy how good Harvick got through turn 3 that time. Near 100 degrees for a high heat index of over 100. Man. Yeah, a lot of the heat that we got, like in my area where I live, in Northwest Ohio, was like really early in the summer. It was like late May into like early to mid-June, and it hasn't really gotten like above 90 consistently since. Like here and there we'll have a day that hits 90, but for the most part it's been like mid-80s, low 80s quite a bit. It's actually been kind of a cooler summer compared to the last few years we've had. Seems like the last few years it's just been like in the 90s like every day. Kyle Busch is running down Harvick again. He drove it really deep into turn number 8. He's actually 0.2 of a second quicker that last lap than the race leader. The 2 corners where Harvick's car is just sliding around no matter what is turn 7 and turn 2. So both right-handed turns. 7 is the highest bank turn on the racetrack. One of the flatter corners is turn 2, so it's just kind of weird. They're completely different outside of the fact they're both right-handed turns, and there's, I think, only one other right-handed turn on the racetrack, but it's kind of like a short kink in the middle of the S's. Mostly left-hand turns around this road course. Very unique pit road, though, at Old Spice Speedway. They're going to have to service the cars from the right side. There's also a tunnel that they go into on the pit road where I'm sure we'll see green flag pit stops at some point in time today, knowing it is a road course. If you're just tuning in, we have had one caution already. It was back at lap 14. Not sure exactly who it was from the camera angles that we had, but somebody got just flat out dumped, right hooked, going into turn 8, and ended up in the outside wall there. 43 cars filling up this road course, a lot of them younger drivers in the Busch Series especially. No Cup Series regulars outside of Kevin Harvick running today due to this not being one of the Cup Series racetracks. So I guess in the game, these Cup Series drivers would be racing elsewhere. So the field's going to have to race Harvick in this one. Might make his job a little bit easier. But nothing is easy, especially with Kyle Busch. He has really proved himself as one of the championship contenders early in the season. Him and Bobby Hamilton Jr. of the Busch Series regulars, at least. Kyle Busch a little bit faster than Harvick that last lap. He's getting a lot better in turn 8, it seems like, and trying to outbreak Harvick. Harvick seems to beat him in turn 3 more often than not still, but Busch wants to keep the pressure. The thing is now is Harvick's got the track position for really the first time today. DP drove it into turn 3, trying to gap Busch back out again. Best corner of the racetrack by far for Kevin Harvick is turn 3. Got that excess pavement on the inside. He uses it to perfection every time he runs down there, and he can hit his marks down to the inside. He doesn't really lock the tires up doing so either, and he's doing a good job not locking the tires up in turn 8 as well. I love playing golf when it's hot outside. The ball flies a lot further in the humidity. Makes me feel stronger. It is hard to judge sometimes, though, because you get into that, like, you're in that, like, less than 100-yard range. For me, I usually use my gap wedge, but it's like, I know I have to, like, lay off of it as it is when I'm under 100, but when there's heat outside, too, and the ball kind of carries, I have to get, like, lay off of it even more. It's kind of hard, and I tend to miss long sometimes because of it. Or I miss super, super short because I baby it too much, knowing I can't swing too hard. Kyle Busch has definitely put that pressure on Kevin Harvick right now. Harvick back down to the apron in turn 3 and gaps him right back again. Takes the whole rest of the lap for Busch to close back in. Just how good Harvick is in turn 3. And just having the advantage with being the race leader for the 21 right now as well versus the 5. But it's definitely looking like a race that could definitely come down between Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Both want redemption after last night. Kyle Busch ran out of fuel with 5 laps to go in the race while battling for the lead, and Harvick went side by side for the lead with just coming to 3 laps to go in the race. Kenseth had either gotten tight or just flat out ran into, I'm sure he just overdrove the corner. It got tight one way or another. Drove into the side of Harvick, put him into the outside wall, bringing out a caution. Harvick had heavy damage. He pitted, and the race ended under yellow, unfortunately, and Harvick finished 16th. After leading just over half the race, 85 of the 150 laps led last night by Kevin Harvick. A lot of that was on strategy, but even still, he had one of the 4 faster cars in the race. As did this guy, Kyle Busch. He makes a move to the inside in turn 8. First time he's been able to get alongside Harvick for quite some time. Halfway on fuel. And Busch is still down low into turn 1. He's going to drive it in deep. And makes the pass. Kyle Busch back to the race lead. Not giving up. Harvick going to try to get him in his best corner in turn 3. Drives it in super deep. Really flatlined the corner. But he clears Kyle Busch again. Busch going to have to keep the pressure on, as you know he likely will. DB Forever 85, welcome to the stream. So halfway on fuel, lap 33, and we had 3 caution laps during the one and only caution in this race so far. Busch beats Harvick back to the gas in turn 8 again, but Harvick leads the lap, which he led the last lap too. Kyle Busch never officially took the lead there. Harvick by half a car length led the lap prior. Turn 2, Harvick slides wide, and Busch is easily going to get through to the lead. Harvick made a big mistake there. He's been sliding in turn 2 and turn 7 all day long, and that time he slid way too wide in turn 2, and Kyle Busch is definitely going to be leading the lap this time wide of the line. I'd be shocked if Harvick got back to him. He's not really within striking distance to make a pass on him. He tries. He brakes really hard into the corner. He got underneath him. Busch led the lap, and now Harvick going to side draft him. Try to get away before Busch can side draft Harvick back, and Harvick is clear into turn 1. Busch cuts back underneath him into turn 2, side by side. Harvick slides the tires again. They're still side by side. An over-under move now by Harvick down to the inside, onto the apron again, and back to the lead. What a battle between Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. A clean one nonetheless as well. What you like to see. Tim Irvin, welcome to the stream. Hello, sir, to you too. Busch gonna test the outside. Didn't really work for him there. He might have lost a little bit of ground. Really see Kyle Busch working hard to set these corners up. As soon as he gets off the exit of the corner, he quickly tries to just set up the next corner immediately. He's doing pretty good at that. Harvick hasn't had more than a 9/10 of a second lead so far in this one. Busch had about a 5-second lead over second place before that first yellow at lap 14. Bunched everybody back together. They had some laps on their tires, and then about 4 laps after the restart, Harvick got to the lead. He's led all but like maybe 2 laps since the lead change right about lap 18. That car sounds like it's redlining quite a bit in turn 2 as well. I think a lot of it is the rear tires spinning. I don't use a manual transmission with these older NASCAR games because it's just like the feeling with the controller when I hit R1, L1, sometimes it doesn't want to like react instantly. And I've noticed that with the share draft with L2 and R2 as well. Like I'll be trying to hit it. Sometimes I have to hit it like 3 or 4 times for it to actually like activate. So it's like, yes, the steering's a lot better with this controller, but for whatever reason, R1 and L1 and then R2 and L2 are like, they're almost dead. Like it takes me having to hit them a couple times. Like I'll notice on super speedways when you're trying to share draft like the entire race where I'm like spamming it down the straightaway before it'll even register. And then if I spam it too much, it'll like double click and then I'll have it and lose it immediately and then try to get it back again. Busch set Harvick up pretty good in turn 7 that time. Harvick slides the tires on corner entry into 8. Third place is starting to close in on this battle for the race lead as well. He really closed in on Kyle Busch, who must have made a bit of a mistake getting into turn 8 because he lost a lot of ground to Kevin Harvick that time. more ground than what he was losing in turn 8. It seemed like he was a little better than Harvick there. No, Harvick's solid in turn 3, and he pulls away a little bit more. 1 second lead into turn 4. Largest lead of the night for Kevin Harvick as we'll be coming to lap 40. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time here tonight for the next 4 laps. Definitely feel like Harvick probably wouldn't have as much wheel spin if it would shift from second to third gear a lot sooner for him in turn 2. That really cost him a lot of time. Almost 160 miles an hour before trying to get into the braking zone in turn number 8. Manages a pretty decent lead on Kyle Busch. See a little damage on the 21. But nobody has made any pit stops yet in this race. Not that I know of, at least. I don't think anybody pitted during that first caution. Nobody ahead of us, at least, but we were in 6th place when the caution went. Busch starting to pull back away from 3rd place slowly but surely once again. Not quite putting the pressure back on Harvick, though. They got a long ways to go in this one. The 5 and the 21 have raced themselves very clean, though. They have gone back and forth at times. Busch did a really swell job in turn 3 that time, trying to minimize any sort of time that Harvick could have tried to gain there. Harvick blocked the brakes up a little bit into turn 8. Kyle Busch closes, and he is all over the back bumper. And maybe looking to the inside, and I think he might be there. Harvick going to try to shut the door into turn 1, and barely does. Busch to the outside in turn 2. What a move on the outside in turn 2 by Kyle Busch. Now he tries to block the inside that Harvick took into 3 and slides back in front of him off the exit. Very risky racing back and forth there, but again, they did it clean. Busch on the outside in turn 2 cleared Harvick. Harvick drove it in extremely deep into 3 and barely cleared him right back off the exit of the corner. Now into turn 8. Busch coming in hot. Gets really tight, though, in the center of the corner. And Harvick beats him back to the gas and hangs on to the race lead once again. So we'll go back to the normal camera, at least for this game, which would be the far chase cam. Just kind of, I mean, he stays pretty consistent behind him. He hasn't fallen more than a second off the lead. He'll put a couple laps together consecutively that are faster than Harvick, get back to him, get around him for a brief moment. You just can't really pull away. Now that Harvick's got better track position than when he started the race in, compared to when Kyle Busch qualified on the pole. Busch again off the exit of turn 8. He's not really drafting off Harvick a whole lot either. I feel like that would help him, especially knowing that is the longest straightaway of the racetrack, and it's not even really that long. Busch tried the outside into turn 3, but Harvick took that cut way down to the bottom, and he actually gained quite a bit of time because of it. Busch was probably thinking he was going to be able to outbrake Harvick, but Harvick's just got so much grip in turn 3. Still got a ways until lap traffic, too, with this being a road course. Probably see our first pit stops of the day before we'll even see lap traffic at all, too. Oh, Harvick really wide in turn 2. Barely kept the car on the racetrack, but he definitely fishtailed quite a bit, and Busch closes back in again right there. And right when Harvick was starting to pull away again, but he gets through his best corner of the racetrack, and whatever time he lost in turn 2, he got it right back in turn 3. Really loose in turn 7. Busch back to the bumper again, or at least within about 2 car lengths. Oh, wide. Harvick got with the right rear, or I guess the left rear, in the right-handed corner. We have a new driver up to 3rd place, and I can't tell who that is right now, and he is closing in on Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. So you have the fastest car on the racetrack, and Busch and Harvick use their stuff up, battling back and forth for the lead there, off and on, throughout this green flag run. Busch extremely deep into turn 8. Gets really close to that back bumper of Harvick and closes in once again. Harvick does beat him back to the gas. Busch not drafting him. He's already going to try to set himself up to maybe drive it deep into turn 1, but he just wasn't close enough to make the move. Well, Harvick slides in 2, but Busch slides as well. Both cars got a little skatey in turn 2. It's actually the 14 of Casey Atwood who was closing into the picture. About a quarter of a tank of fuel left for the race leader, at least, of Kevin Harvick. Harvick locks the brakes up, jammed him up in turn 8. Couldn't get the car pinned down to the bottom. Busch closes in and also pulled away from the 14 once again. Harvick trying to take the inside into turn 1. Kyle Busch is there. A little contact. Harvick might have crowded him. He didn't realize he was going to get to the inside in turn 2. They kept it going straight. Harvick's got the advantage on the inside into 3, and again fends off Busch to hold on to the lead. And again, Atwood closes in for 2nd place on Kyle. He's all over his back bumper, but Busch pulls him in turns 6 and 7. Back into turn 8, which has been Kyle Busch's bread and butter. And again closes on Kevin Harvick. Lap 50. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. If you are new to the channel, we have some daily NASCAR content, as mentioned, with NASCAR video game live streams, some real race live streams, obviously with the 2-week break because of the Olympics. None last weekend, none this coming weekend. But we'll be back at it with the Cup Series live broadcast when they go back to Watkins Glen from this 2-week Olympic break. The live leaderboard up on there, all to jumpstart my young commentary career in hopes of one day living my dream of getting into the commentating booth in a real NASCAR race. Got some vlogs up on the channel, more to come very, very soon. Uploading the rest of the Pocono stuff I have not uploaded, and as well the Road America trip as well, which has still not been uploaded. If I didn't work a full-time job, that stuff would have been out the day I came back, but it's just, it gets tough. On top of trying to stream on top of it still, too. It's just not enough time in a day. It's supposed to rain tomorrow morning, so I won't be able to golf till the afternoon. I Should be able to get most of the Pocono stuff done. I don't know if it'll upload tomorrow, but it should get the rest of it done. Always takes forever for it to upload. Like, even if I try to upload, like you guys will see, I'll upload like a random clip from a race I'm at. Not every time, but if it's like just a crazy moment, like the Talladega finish, or like when Logano flipped earlier this year at Dega, or even like when Kyle Larson blew a tire in the last lap at Pocono and had the last 3 laps of the finish of that race uploaded on the channel. It takes like a few hours well after the race, even though I tried to upload it on the way back to the hotel from my phone. Some of that is probably, especially Pocono going through the mountains, it didn't really upload till I got back to after I got back to the hotel. Harvick slid sideways in turn 7. Atwood actually lost 3rd place. We have another new driver up to 3rd again. I think that was the 112 who was originally there before Atwood took over the position. Lap times have fallen off. Harvick's fastest lap of the race is a 47.196. That last lap with the clean air with the lead was a 47.961. And we have a lot of drivers coming onto pit road this time by. So we're seeing green flag pit stops for the first time today at lap 53. So a little bit of short pitting going on right now. Again, it's going to be close on whether this is going to be a 2 or a 3 stop race, especially with the caution at lap 14, as well as any other cautions we get from here on out to the finish as well. Could throw a bunch of different strategy into this one. With this only being a 1.5-mile road course, you can definitely lose a lap. It's a very long and windy pit road as well. Busch gains a lot in turns 1 and 2. Drives it deep into turn 3, but not as deep as Harvick. A lot of the leaders came onto pit road that last time. I'm surprised they're pitting this early into the run. I feel like they can go a little bit further. I'm just going to try to stretch this out as long as he can. Oh, Harvick caught the lap car, the 22. He's just coming off the pit lane. And that might open the door for Busch to get to the lead as Harvick slides off 2. Kyle Busch is clear. But Harvick drives it back in, trying to use the 22 as a pick in turn 3. Harvick gets around them both. And he fights Busch right back. Just couldn't quite clear the 22. And now Kyle Busch is going to pit. So Busch will beat Harvick onto pit road, and you just wonder where this is going to cycle Harvick at the end of all these pit stops. He's got all these lap cars on fresh tires right behind him, but for right now, he's going to hang on to this track position while he's got the clean air, and he's going to try to lead as many laps as possible on top of it. That's what helped him lead the most laps last night, going off strategy and just staying out longer than everybody else through the first green flag pit stops. Most of the field has pit. Not all of the lead lap cars, but most of them. Hornaday had a pretty quick pit stop. He comes out well ahead of race leader Kevin Harvick. So hard not to lock the tires up in this game, too. Tracks like Martinsville and New Hampshire, and this track obviously as well. Any road courses really. You have those sharp U-turn. Contact with the 14. And allow the 22 to get around Atwood for position as well. He's now the first car 1 lap down. So Kyle Busch pit at lap 55. Harvick a little wide. Oh, the 22 drills Harvick off turn 8. Goes wide himself as well. Just pushed it a little too hard into that corner. Atwood guns it to the inside into turn 1 on Kevin Harvick. Harvick going to have to let him go as he slides off 2. Much older tires, and I think Atwood just kind of missed time, or not Atwood, but the 22 just missed time the corner exit with Harvick on the outside of him, thinking that Harvick could get back to the gas maybe a little bit sooner, but on those older tires, he's just not able to. I was going to slide too much. Just kind of push up the track a lot, too. 22 car lost a couple positions, and he's still a lap down as well. Yeah, 200 lap road course race. Good luck. 59 laps in. It's already been almost an hour. My goodness. Guess it's been about 40, 45 minutes. But... And this is a Busch race. This isn't even a Cup race either. I can't imagine what the Cup race is going to be at Old Spice on the custom schedule mode. You throw all those fantasy road courses into it. Probably going to be a lot of longer races on there. Going to be entertaining for you guys. Like stock cars. But endurance racing with them. Lap 60 for Harvick. Yeah, it's likely looking to be a 3 pit stop race here tonight. Especially for everybody that already pitted. No way they're going to stretch runs out, their first runs being between 50 and 55 laps. Kyle Busch already pit 5 laps ago. Harvick going to stay out another lap this time by. Might stay out the following lap as well. Have to imagine Harvick's not going to cycle back as the race leader when it's all said and done here, but we'll have a few lap fresher tires maybe to run him back down, but those tires will even out after however many laps it is that he's going to have fresher tires for once you get to the end of that amount of laps, especially on the road course. They will even out. Harvick going to stay out of the pits one more lap. So he'll pit at lap 62. It'll be a 4-tire pit stop. No adjustments on the 21 team. A little bit of damage to try and scuff out and repair. Ethan's saying pit now. I will definitely be pitting here. Lap 62. Harvick just trying to stretch that fuel tank out as far as he possibly can. Pretty long pit road. Can't quite remember where the commitment line was from when we raced here in the Truck Series. I know it's quite a ways down. 70 miles per hour is the pit road speed limit. Harvick not going to take it too deep this time to make sure he doesn't speed. But again, no adjustments on this 21 car. 4 fresh tires and a full tank of fuel. We'll get to see the reverse pit stops under green flag conditions. First pit stop of the race for Harvick tonight. And they're making some chassis adjustments. That why do they do that in the EA games? Like, they do that just to make it look like they're doing extra work. Like, they make a chassis adjustment, and half the time they don't even. It doesn't even like actually change the race car. I didn't ask for a chassis adjustment. Well, I can't bring back the replays, but damage clock, we'll just have to wait and see. It'd be kind of cool if they actually had a damage clock built in as it is. And it's like a lapse time throughout the course of the race, like of how much you can go on pit road to repair damage. It'd be pretty cool. Harvick cycled out in third place. Kyle Busch cycled back through as the race leader. Ron Hornaday in second. So a couple RCR cars trailing, but we got Chevrolets running 1 through 3 on the racetrack. A lot of clean air for Kyle Busch now. Harvick's got 7-lap fresher tires. Just ran 1 lap there, so he's got about 6 laps of fresh tires before they'll even out. So he's going to have to make a quick pass here on Hornaday as he catches up to him going into turn 3. Cut it way down low on the racetrack. Quickly gets around Hornaday. On those fresher Goodyears. He's already less than 2 seconds behind Busch. He should catch him well before those 7 laps are up and the tires get evened out. Maybe he can build a little bit of a gap on Kyle Busch. He hasn't had more than a 1-second race lead. And now we have a caution for the second time today at lap 64. So much for Harvick trying to catch Kyle Busch under green. This will bunch the field back together again as Casey Atwood goes for a spin in turn 7. That was a very awkward spin for Atwood. That was really, really strange. Because it was a right-handed turn and he spun to the left. He was supposed to go this way, and he spun this way all by himself. That was really, really weird. Backed it down the banking. He saved it. He never hit the wall. Nobody hit him, luckily, in that blind corner. But second caution of the race. Tough break for Casey Atwood, who has had a decent day, to say the least. Green flag back in the air. Kyle Busch will lead the field of the green. Second time the caution is waved when Busch has had more than a 1-second race lead. OG Mara, welcome to the stream. Oh, Harvick closed in quite a bit. Guess he's still got a few lap fresher tires here. Driving in extremely deep in turn 3, but he couldn't quite clear Kyle Busch. He does get underneath him, though. We'll have the inside. Now we'll be on the outside in turn 7. If he can hold on, which he will, he'll have the inside into turn 8. Tries to outbrake Rowdy before he was actually nicknamed Rowdy. And at lap 69, Kevin Harvick is back in the lead. Well, now we know after last night's race that the race can end under yellow in the Busch Series. Truck Series, not so much. But Busch Series, we know for sure. So it's back to the Harvick and Kyle Busch show once again. Here at Old Spice Speedway. If one of these two drivers does not win this race at the end of the night, all the laps that both of them have led, I don't even think anybody else has led in this race outside of Harvick or Kyle Busch. Because even on the restarts, Busch has restarted from the lead. He gets a good launch initially, at least. Hangs on for a couple laps, then Harvick comes in and takes it away. And they battle back and forth. Middle of green flag pit stops. Harvick stayed out the longest. And Busch cycled through as the leader. And Busch gets into the left rear of Kevin Harvick in turn 8. Kyle goes a little wide. So he tried to use the bumper, but it failed. I don't know why you're asking for permission to ask me a question there, Oni. Just ask away. I don't know how many laps away they were from lap traffic for the first time. Before the caution wave. There's a slow car on the racetrack right now as well. Looks like a slow car at least. No, they're up to speed. They're just way off the rest of the field. Field got split into two packs pretty quickly though too. Must have had a stack up on the restart somewhere around the racetrack. Yeah, Kevin Harvick's got a couple nicknames. The Closer being one of them. The Bakersfield Basher. Mr. Where Did He Come From? That kind of goes in with the Closer, I guess, too. But Happy Harvick. I think Kevin Harvick might have the most nicknames of any NASCAR driver, current or past. Is there any other driver that has had more nicknames than Kevin Harvick? I guess Kyle Busch is up there. He's got a couple of them. The Candyman, Rowdy, KFB. Yes, he's got quite a few of them too. Harvick still got 4 of them though. Terry Cook in the 10 car is a little off the pace. He'll go a lap down. I wonder if he might have been one of the drivers that blew their engine and has come back out on the racetrack because he is very slow. Well, he's nicknamed the Closer because he's had a lot of, particularly earlier in his career, a lot of close finishes. And it seems like anytime there's a nail-biting finish that involves Kevin Harvick, he always wins the race. That's why he's nicknamed the Closer. Even if it's not side by side, if it comes down to the final lap, I mean, there's so many races. His first career win at Atlanta, 2007 Daytona 500. The oh shoot, what race was that? Talladega in 2010, where he had that photo finish with Jamie McMurray. I think it was 2010. Fontana in 2011, I believe it was. Last lap pass on Jimmy Johnson, where he kind of bump drafted him down the back straightaway and launched him into 3 and just slid right back underneath him. With Kyle Busch at New Hampshire just a couple years ago in 2018, he had a little bump and run with 6 to go on him and then pulled away. It's whenever there's a close finish and Kevin Harvick is right there, in position, he doesn't even have to be leading at the time of it. And actually, most of the time, he's not even leading. He's second or third. He always comes out on top for whatever reason. He hasn't really been in that situation in a while. Well, I guess he was with Darlington. Darlington in 2020. Granted that he had really nothing to do with that one. He was in third place with 20 laps to go when Truex took out Chase Elliott and himself trying to make a pass for the lead, and Harvick was right there in third, and he ended up winning the race and holding off Austin Dillon. So that one kind of fell into his lap. The other ones he kind of had to work for, but I call him Bushy. Well, that's more of a self-proclaimed nickname. That's not one he's actually given. Oh, jeez. I was trying to read the chat and I ran out of room on the racetrack. Kyle Busch to close in again in turns 1 and 2. Busch slid the tires as much as Harvick, if not more, in turn 2, which we haven't seen a lot of. And oh, he might lose second place in turn 3. Ron Hornaday outbreaks him, and they're side by side for second place into turns 4 and 5. Busch trying to hold the outside in those corners. He'll have the inside into 7. We'll see if he can clear him before they get into turn 8. Otherwise, Hornaday might have a really good chance to get around Kyle Busch in turn 8. And he couldn't do it. Kyle Busch again fends him off. Lap 79 now. I'm guessing you meant to say, do you think the Packers need another wide receiver? I can't believe they're going after Randall Cobb. I mean, I guess it's, Rodgers' request, but, like, I just don't, like, they don't have any cap space. I don't even know where the money came from that reported deal that they gave Rodgers originally with, like, to make him, like, the highest paid player in the league or quarterback in the league, whatever, and he turned it down. Like, I don't even know where that money came from because they have, like, zero cap space. They freed up a tiny bit more releasing Blake Bortles and Tim Boyle, but they're backup quarterbacks. But, I mean, that really only frees up, like, maybe $5-6 million. So if they get Randall Cobb, which I think they just did earlier today, but I think that was more of a trade. I don't know, like, where they're getting this extra money. It's not like baseball where there's no salary cap. Like, there is a salary cap in football, so I don't understand where they're getting this money from. Maybe restructuring Rodgers' contract. Maybe, like, he's taking less to get out of Green Bay at the end of next season. In return, they can go and sign more guys. I really have zero clue. Yes, they re-signed Aaron Jones to a 5-year deal this offseason, which I was kind of surprised because when we drafted A.J. Dillon a couple years ago, I kind of figured Jones was going to be gone after this year, but he's a stud. Just doesn't make any mistakes. Hornaday makes the pass for second place in turn 3, and now RCR runs 1-2. But yeah, they're going to have Aaron Jones for quite some time yet. I'll probably be there longer than Rodgers at this. I mean, assuming Rodgers is done after this coming season, which is kind of what I was thinking the whole time. I called it, by the way. I called it. I said Rodgers was going to stick around for at least one more year. And if the Packers were going to lose him, it would be after the 2022 season, or 2021 season. And what do you know? It's 2021, and ESPN and every other media source out there, sports and not sports related. Oh, Aaron Rodgers is going to leave. What team is Aaron Rodgers going to go to? Oh, he's not sticking around with the Packers. Packers want him gone. Packers didn't want him gone this season. Like, their plan was for Rodgers to be the quarterback through 2021. Where the issue was is Rodgers was kind of holding out because he understands what Green Bay is trying to do, and he's like, no, if you guys are going to do that to me, then I don't want to play for you guys next season, which would be this coming season, 2021. And how can you blame him for that, you know? I side with him more than what I do the Packers front office with the way they handle that situation. I mean, figuring, you know, they had to deal with this with Brett Favre like a decade ago, you have to assume now that it's happening to 2-star quarterbacks, it can't be the quarterback's fault at this point. Like, I mean, it can't be, like, an ego thing. I think it's a front office situation with the Packers. That's what it is. Caught Terry Cook in the 10 car again. He's way off the pace. Long straightaway. Best time for Harvick to catch him. That's exactly where he caught him the last time, too. I can't see him playing. I guess he said he contemplated retirement after this season. Or not after the, like after last season. Like, during this holdout. He was contemplating it. Would have just been like the biggest Carl Edwards move of all time. That would have been like what Carl Edwards did in 2016, but with the NFL, where you just have like one of the top guys retiring at the top of their game, just not even like of really of an age reason. Like he's 36, he was 36 last year, he'll be 37 this season. So it's like, yeah, he's like kind of getting up there, but he's not like old. I mean, you look at Tom Brady doing what he's doing at 43. You know, if Rodgers stays healthy, I mean, he still has a good 5-6 years left in him. So it's, you know, like he still got it. He just won the MVP last season, so he's obviously still got it. Just kind of strange. It's like you have a shot to win the championship and you're just choosing to walk away, which is, you know, kind of what Carl Edwards did. He just kind of got tired of the shenanigans, I guess. Shenanigans with NASCAR and Carl Edwards situation, with Aaron Rodgers situation, was tired of shenanigans with the NFL, or not the NFL, but more the Packers front office. And I don't really think Rodgers wants to play for anybody else, really. Like deep down, he always talked about wanting to retire as a Packer. And I think when the Packers have kind of turned the cold shoulder on him, he's like, hey, wait a minute. You know, I was in this for the long haul with you guys. I don't understand why you're not in it for the long haul with me when I'm putting up numbers like I did last season. So it's a justifiable case for all the madness going on. I really don't blame him one bit. I think most of the blame is on. And I mean, Rodgers if you think about it though too, he's really handled it well. Like he's declining a lot of interviews. He's had very few interviews outside of like the Pat McAfee show, if he can even count that. I mean, those guys are best friends, so I don't think that really counts as an interview. He was literally on there every week during this last NFL season, so like, you know, it's no shock that, you know, he would go on his show during the offseason a couple times too. Kyle Busch making a pass for second place on Ron Hornaday. Attempted to go to the inside in turn one, but he ended up on the outside in two because of it. Drives it deep back to the inside in turn three and clears Hornaday off turn three. Kyle Busch back to second. We'll see if he can run down Kevin Harvick. Hornaday stays in third. Coming to lap 88 at the start-finish line this time. Still two more pit stops left to the finish of the race. Only had one so far. Oh, Devontae Adams is a beast. The only thing, though, it's like he's a beast with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback. You know, is it a Jordy Nelson situation like when Jordy left Green Bay, when they didn't re-sign him, whatever season that was 2017 or 20? I think it was 2018. They didn't re-sign him, and he played for Oakland, and he had like two good games with Oakland, and that he was hurt. And even when he was healthy, outside of those two good games he had, he was just bad. And then he retired. You know, is it like one of those situations, or does he have the talent to be able to like guide Jordan Love in the future? Because it kind of looks like what the Packers are shooting for. Get some Stenhouse merch. No thanks. No thanks. I'm sticking to the Blaney merch. I don't plan on getting driver merch from anybody else, unless my grandparents or somebody asks for me to get them a T-shirt of their favorite driver or whatever. Then obviously I'll buy it when I'm at the racetrack. But for myself, I don't go out of my way. I just can't see myself wearing like a Kyle Larson T-shirt just because I'm too big of a Ryan Blaney fan to wear somebody else's stuff. Like I can't see myself wearing Chase Elliott stuff, Kyle Busch stuff. Like, it's just like, not that I don't dislike any of them, just not, you know, their biggest fan. That's all. See, the curious thing too, it's like Rodgers pretty much backed up that he could still play last year, and the Packers are sticking to the whole Jordan Love situation. They're like, nope, he's our future, essentially, is what they're kind of doing. But at the same time, it's like, okay, what if Aaron Rodgers goes out and wins the MVP again this season? Is it going to be the same situation all over again next year? And they're just going to wait for Rodgers to not win the MVP, and then they're, okay, see ya. Like, it just keeps restructuring contracts for one-year deals, because Rodgers doesn't want that. Like, he's fine to do it for one season, I'm sure, but he's not going to do that every single season. Like, there's just no way he's going to do that every year. Because at some point he will decline, and you don't want that to be the end. And then at that point, that's Green Bay saying, well, see, told you, even though it's like 3 years after what they originally expected him to decline. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just again, it's a Packers front office situation. Oh, jeez. Looking at the chat again, ran a little wide. Oh! Contact between Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick in turn 8 as Busch gets to the lead. Busch moved up the track a little bit, but Harvick also kind of came down, and it was just a racing deal there. The only reason I went wide is because I was looking at the chat and missed my corner. Gotta keep the consistency going in a long road course race like this. Fatigue will set in for these drivers, and we're not even halfway home yet. Well over an hour into this race. It's got to be probably the longest Busch Series race of the season, maybe all time. Harvick locks the brakes up, looks to the outside, and the U-turn cuts back down to the bottom to block off Hornaday and gets to the inside of Kyle Busch, who leads the lap at the line. Harvick beats Busch back through the shifts. He's not going to clear him, though, by the time they get into turn 1, and Busch is going to hold the outside still. Busch down low into turn 2. Not clear into 3. Harvick down to the apron, clear off turn 3. Lap car of Terry Cook coming up once again. And Cook's got a little bit of a mechanical failure and is just kind of well off the pace in this one. Harvick gets around him on the outside in turn 7. Harvick really tried to arc that corner off. Probably the best he's actually arced the corner off all day long in turn 8. Risky arcing it off that high and letting somebody try to dive bomb underneath you, but he figured Kyle Busch was just a little too far back to be able to actually get there. Really helps the corner exit and the drive off. It allowed Harvick to pull down that longest straightaway of the racetrack just a little bit ahead of Kyle. So halfway on fuel through this run, almost halfway home. With the 2 cautions we've had today, if we get a couple more, can Kevin Harvick actually finish this race on a one-stopper? Is that possible? I think originally we weren't really thinking it was, and Busch pushes off the exit of turn 7, or turn 8 rather. Second U-turn and gets into the left rear of Harvick. That hurt Busch worse than it hurt Harvick. Pushed it just a tad too hard too early. A long wheel spin. We still have not had a leader outside of Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick all day long, though midway through this current green flag run, we have seen the two of Ron Hornaday get up as high as second place in the running order. A lot of the field pit right around lap 50 to 55, so I'm expecting anywhere between lap 100 to 110 we're going to be seeing some pit stops for those guys once again. Harvick went 7 laps longer the first time, so he's probably looking at about 15 laps longer this time around. Which might give Busch a little bit bigger of a lead when everything cycles through. There are a lot of cars currently on pit road, I do believe. Oh, no, never mind. It looked like that there was. I was going to say just shy of lap 100. I've been a little surprised if they pit quite that early. One more lap to get there. At least we haven't had a ton of cautions. They've been evenly spaced out between the two. Still not even sure who was involved in that first accident. Somebody got turned going into turn 8, though. Right hooked, getting into the corner, and then we saw Casey at least on the replay, saw him spin in turn 7. That corner right there. It didn't look like he was going at a high rated speed. He might have had a tire down well before he had actually gotten into the corner and spun out. So lap 100 now at the line. I feel like the first 50 laps flew by, and those second 50 laps kind of drug on quite a bit, even though we had some great racing in there. This is a hefty race. I remember the Truck Series race was 133 laps here at Old Spice Speedway, and I thought that was super long. The Modified Series race was 100 laps here. I thought that was long for the Modified race. Then you got this one that's twice the length, and it's only a Busch race. So we are halfway home. Crossed flags officially that time at the line. Already got max skill points, and we're only halfway through the race. And Busch has led quite a bit in this one. Harvick's probably led more to this point, but Kyle Busch is definitely a close second in laps led. If Busch can't get to the lead before green flag pit stops again for him, we know Harvick can lead to about lap 120, 125 before he has to pit. And now we have at least one taker onto pit road that time. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing more in the coming laps. I don't think anybody pitted under either of the two cautions we've seen today, because that second caution came out not long after green flag pit stops. Everybody pitted, then it was another 7 laps after the second to last car pitted before Harvick pit. And then literally only 3-4 laps at the most after Harvick came off of pit road, we got that yellow. It was just after the Green flag stop cycle through. Kyle Busch still on the racetrack, but he hasn't really closed within 0.6 of a second. He's falling almost 1 second off the lead. He failed to get around Harvick when he got to the inside of him in turn 8 originally and pushed up the racetrack. And Harvick has not made any adjustments to his race car in this one. Loose off turn 2 again there. Makes up for it in turn 3. For how many laps down Terry Cook's going to go in this one. He's probably already a ton of laps down before he came back onto the track. After originally looking like he was going to DNF with an engine failure, but we've had a couple more DNFs since, so he's trying to outlast a couple more guys. And we never know. We could get even more drivers to DNF well before the end of this race, knowing we still have 96 laps to go on the road course. Remember, this is the only road course race we have, not only in the truck series, when we raced here once, but in the modified series as well, though the modifieds race here twice. On that schedule for this Chase for the Cup 2005 EA Sports video game. Ashton G, welcome to the stream. Oh, jeez. That's the third time I've looked at the chat, and I just completely started drifting off in the middle of a straightaway, nonetheless. Like, it hasn't even been in a turn the entire night. Middle of the straightaways. One second lead for Harvick. No problem for being late. This is a late night. We'll have our back to our regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode at Las Vegas will return tomorrow night. Start time going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Harvick just about spun out off turn 2 that time. Almost as bad as it gets, really, with his wheel spin off turn 2. And Kyle Busch, who was a second off the lead, is now 0.7 of a second off the lead. So he gained 0.3 of a second there. He gained maybe 0.4 of a second, but Harvick gapped him again in turn 3 by another 10. And he kind of slides and locks the tires up. Now we have a decent amount of drivers coming onto pit road. Making their way off of pit road as well. Hermie Sadler making his way onto the racetrack. Harvick gets around him. Gonna hold Kyle Busch up into turn 1. Getting Harvick back out to a 1 second lead again as Busch is trying to get around him on the outside in turn 2, and now he'll have the inside into 3. Largest lead of the race for Harvick, 1.3 second lead. Off turn 3 that time. With Hermie Sadler getting in the way of Kyle Busch now. Kyle Busch stays out of the pits again, and indeed, in the middle of green flag pit stops, or second pit stops of the race. Second of likely 3. Harvick would love to make this a 2-stop race today, but he's probably going to need 2 or 3 more cautions to even have a chance to do that. And honestly, if we get a yellow in the middle of green flag stops, he might as well pit and not risk staying out to try and make it on that one last stop, because he's just going to end up losing track position likely anyway on the restart on older tires. So might as well get on the same strategy as everybody else from that point. But for the moment, he is considering stayed out pretty much about as long as he could under that first run. Trying to do the same here. It's lap 110. He's made it past halfway on just the one stop. That's impressive. Harvick caught Ashton Lewis in a bad spot getting into turn 1 now as Lewis came off the pit lane. So Kyle Busch will gain a little bit of that time back that Busch lost after Hermie Sadler came off the pits. Harvick to the inside of Ashton Lewis, but Lewis with those fresher tires getting through the shifts maybe a little bit better. Side by side pretty much all the way around this racetrack. Harvick going to try to outbrake Lewis. Into turn 8, Harvick completes the pass on Ashton Lewis to put him a lap down. 90 laps to go here at Old Spice Speedway. Man, Harvick really wide in turn 2. Lewis back to the outside. Into 3. Not going to be the corner to get around Harvick probably at all today, really. Fresher tires or not. That's Harvick's bread and butter corner. He's got well over 1 second lead on Kyle Busch now, and I'm thinking Kyle Busch hit pit road that last lap while Harvick's been battling with Ashton Lewis. Harvick got back in the gas way too soon. Lewis pulls back in on him again. Oh, Lewis goes wide. Really wide in turn 2. Overdrove the corner trying to get his lap back on Harvick in case we do get a caution. More of the leaders coming into the pits again. Tim Feederwood just coming off the pit lane. He'll be a lap down. Slower car of Terry Cook. I swear, every time Harvick catches Cook, it's either in the middle of turn 7, he gets to the outside with ease on him there, or it's down this longest straightaway of the racetrack off the exit of turn 8, and he just powers by the car who's down a cylinder. I like to think quarter tank of fuel is about 15 laps, and again, he hit that, I believe it was at lap 110, so likely looking about lap 125 as Harvick slid the tires into 3 a little bit that time, trying to gap on, or close the gap, I should say, on Ron Hornaday in front of him. Harvick is like dead even with Hornaday, really, even with these much older race tires. The only spot he closes is in turn 3, but if he manages that gap everywhere else like he's doing, I am pretty tired right now, I'm not going to lie. This is just Not just because this is a long race, but just, I mean, I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning because of going to work. I was up at 5 o'clock yesterday morning, and we didn't get done streaming till, what, like 11 o'clock last night? Just after, like, 5 or 10 after 11 before I went to bed. Well, I got done streaming there, then I had to take everything down and shut everything off, so it was probably another 5 minutes after that, but I was out after that, about a quarter after 11, so. And then back up at 5 again today, so. At 5, wake up for work yesterday morning, worked, played 18 holes after work, got home, streamed, got done streaming just after 11, went to bed on about a little less than 6 hours of sleep. And after a little bit less of 6 hours of sleep, get back up at 5 o'clock again this morning, work, go to the golf course again. Only was able to get 9 holes in instead of 18 today. And then an even longer race to stream. But I don't have to work tomorrow, so I could sleep in a little bit. I do have to get to the bank by 9 a.m., but I could still get a good 8 hours in by the time this race is done, so no problemo. I'll get my sleep back tonight. And then we'll stream a lot earlier tomorrow, so I won't be up nearly as late. Again, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard start time will be the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode race at Las Vegas. The start of the round of 12. We'll see what we can do coming in off back-to-back wins going into that race. As the playoffs continue, the race for the championship thickens. Maybe the wild card round of the playoffs, per se. Maybe not all at Las Vegas, but Talladega, the second race of the round, and the Roval, the cutoff race of the round of 12. 58 miles an hour for Harvick before locking the brakes up into turn 8. Hornaday and Kyle Busch starting to pull away from him. It seems like Hornaday is slowly, and I mean very slowly, catching Kyle Busch. Busch is getting quite a bit closer to the lap traffic ahead of him, though, as well. So maybe the clean air Kyle Busch would have had is starting to falter. That was a big drift all the way through turn 2 that time for Harvick. That time he drifted on corner entry. Usually it's been corner exit, but it was corner entry and exit. It was all the way through the corner as Harvick slid that time in turn 2. Staying out of the pits, leading laps. This should give the lead back to Kyle Busch, just like it did during the green flag pit stops last time. The only two drivers that cycled ahead of Kevin Harvick through the first green flag stops of the day was Kyle Busch and Ron Hornaday. They're the only two drivers on the lead lap outside of Harvick. Those green flag pit stops being put into place, but it looks like Ashton Lewis is in 4th and in the free pass position if we were to get a yellow. But he'd have to restart at the tail end of the longest line. These guys have not had to race through lap traffic today at the time of those first 2 cautions. This could be the first. $80 laps to go here at Old Spice Speedway. Really see on the track map on the upper right hand corner of the screen that things are really spacing apart. Cars all over this racetrack now. No brakes at all for the fans sitting in the designated turn that they're staying in. Seating nearly every corner around the racetrack. Does anybody else want to see Old Spice Speedway come to life? They need to make this track somewhere. It looks expensive. Honestly, for being a 2004 video game, it looks state-of-the-art for 2004. Not that that was that long ago, but... Another wheel spin in turn 2. Hornaday got caught behind the 10 car, that time of Terry Cook, and Harvick got into the back of Cook off the exit of turn 3. Hornaday didn't get held up nearly as much as Harvick did there. Right front got worn out on Harvick in the middle of turn 3 as well. Got into the yellow, which might have caused his car to push a little more before making contact with a much, much slower car of Cook. Not sure exactly how much longer Harvick's going to stay out of the pits here. 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel, and no adjustments for the second straight pit stop. Just kind of driven the car, despite it being really skady in turn 2. He's learned to drive the car a lot better in turn 7. Hasn't really had a bad car in 7 since the very beginning of the race, and that was more probably driver error than anything else. Definitely gotten a lot smoother there. He's going to stay out one more lap. 1.5 mile road course. So 1.5 miles to get back around the track, and Kevin Harvick will pit at lap 125 for his second pit stop of the day. It'll be 75 laps to the end from there. He made it 62 laps on the first run. This run is going to be 63 laps with 1 caution in the middle of each run. So this will be a lap longer than what he took that opening run. Getting down into the U-turn in turn 3, closing back in on Hornaday, who's got the lap car, the 119, right in front of him. Harvick gaps Ashton Lewis in turn 3 again. And Harvick going to hit pit road this time. He's going to try to take it in a lot deeper this time than what he did before. Locks the tires up at the last second there, but he's changing them anyway. So 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel, race leader in the pits. And this will cycle through green flag pit stops for the second time here tonight at Old Spice Speedway. Oh, wow, points leader. Bobby Hamilton Jr. was one of the drivers that blew an engine today. Didn't even notice that. This is massive. This could give Harvick the points lead. And problems now with the rear tire changer trying to get the left rear on the car. Again, reverse pit stops, having to service the left sides before the right sides, and that might have costed Harvick's crew. 17-second stop there. It was supposed to be almost, a 16.1 estimated time. Wasn't expecting Harvick to cycle back as the race leader anyway, and he will not. Kyle Busch in the lead. Second time he cycled in the lead through pit stops today. Harvick comes up onto the racetrack. Morphs in line pretty soundly. He's only 1 second off the lead, and now he's got about 15 lap fresher tires. Trying to run down Kyle Busch as he gets up to speed, and he gets in to the inside at least of Kyle Busch off the exit of turn 3. Into 4 and 5, and he is just going to power right around the race leader. Whoa, he didn't clear him. Busch sends it into 7 and stays in front for now. Locks the tires up. Trying to pick Busch behind the lap car, and does. Harvick back to the lead. For 1 lap, Kyle Busch led there. Harvick back out in front. Slower pit stop, but Harvick gained a lot more time getting into the pits than what he did during the first green flag pit stop of the day. That was even after Kyle Busch pitted more laps before than what he did during the first run. Harvick takes it 63 laps again from the time he came off of pit road, lap 126. And he'll be able to make it to about 12 laps to go before having to pit again. So yeah, he's probably going to need 3 or 4 more cautions late in this race if he's going to make it on one more stop. But I mean, honestly, we get a caution with less than 60 to go. We might as well pit then. Yeah, no, Wiggins in his way. Wiggins was in the top 5 early on in this race. He's really falling off the pace. Harvick outbreaks him into 8, and Wiggins is going to go a lap down. Kyle Busch back to over 1 second off the lead again. 15 lap pressure tires for Kevin Harvick working out. They'll even out after those 15 laps, so it's going to be a little bit yet. And yeah, you're right, Tim. I mean, if there's no like actual grandstand, you can definitely see a lot of like the fans and like campers, especially in vehicles parked, and the fans by the campers on the turns on the inner portion of the racetrack. Got turn 8 right here, huge grandstands. Harvick coming in hot there behind Terry Cook. Had to check up quite a bit. Russell Hughes in the 64 car just up ahead as well. He's on the inside of Cook. Jammed him up again. And you got this hotel. What is that, the Old Spice Hotel? I think that's what I always used to call it. I was a little kid, at least. I call it the Old Spice Hotel. It can't be the press box in the suites area. Like that's probably that other big building above where the pit road would be. Russell Hughes staying in front of Kevin Harvick pretty soundly right now. Harvick really hasn't had a lot of pressure to put on him to try and make the pass to put him a lap down. He's not really holding him up either, so Harvick will take it. So Kevin Harvick has just clinched the most laps led, and we still got 69 laps to go. Big run under Hughes. Hughes cuts him off in turn 4. Try to back up turn 8, but he couldn't get the car to rotate all the way down to the bottom, so much for that. Even lap time was Kyle Busch that last lap. He definitely could have been better for Harvick. Big slide through turn 2. No surprise, we've seen that all night long. Small valley to the left of the bridge. Yeah, you're right. There's like a tunnel cut out, and I think that's where the Probably how the campers get into the infield, I would have to assume. Through that tunnel. Harvick's being patient behind Russell Hughes right now, but Kyle Busch is closing in. He's 9/10 of a second off the lead all of a sudden. Harvick jammed the brakes in turn 8. I just think it's cool racing across that bridge, too. I always like that with this track. There's a lot of good fantasy road courses on here, though. This one probably one of the more special ones, but there's some really cool racing in the mountains style ones, some infield cutouts at tracks that don't actually have road courses. I always liked the Speedway Boulevard racetrack. That was like one of my favorite road courses. That'll be fun when the custom schedule comes around, when it does. Down the road. We'll get to see all those races. I want to know what that big building is off to the right, though, where pit road's at right there. Like right above the pits. I was slid into the wall off 7. Looking at it. Trying to describe it on the fly. I could probably count on my hand how many times we've streamed past midnight my time. And I'm almost thinking that we're probably going to end up doing it again tonight. It's going to be close. It's going to be really close. It's over 2.5 hours for a Busch Series race. Not like it's been a caution fest either. We've only had 2 of them. Harvick just cannot get around Russell Hughes to save his life right now. And again, Kyle Busch is closing in on him because of it. I mean, Harvick just can't even get close enough to make a move on him. You see right here, he's about 2 car lengths back into turn 1. It's just a little too far to try and outbrake him. He slides in turn 2. Actually didn't lose too much time, and now into turn 3, he'll make the pass. Terry Cook's kind of holding some of these guys up, though, and that's why Harvick was able to pass 2 lap cars in turn 3. You know, Cook's not right in front of these guys. I think they checked up just with him being in the vicinity. Oof, Harvick almost got into him off the exit of turn 7. Trying to catch the car into 8 as he blows by him. Kyle Busch backed about 1 second off the lead again. Well, now that Busch is that Harvick has clinched the most laps led, he won't stay out of the pits as long as what he did that last time. Might not be worth it just in case. I know if we get a caution, it would play out perfectly, but outside of that, not entirely sure. He doesn't want to be the first of the leaders to hit pit road either. He's probably going to wait for Kyle Busch and Ron Hornaday to pit first, and then he'll pit. So he doesn't get himself at risk of going a lap down. In case we did get a caution, that'd be his luck. I mean, he led the most laps in last night's race, California, and finished 16th, and he's already clinched the most laps led here tonight. With contact off the exit of turn 3. Pulled up way too soon on that lap car. $60 laps to go. Like, lap time wise, this is about equivalent with like Daytona and Talladega lap time wise. Which is crazy because Daytona is only 200 laps in the 500, and lap time wise, it's like the same. Not in the actual length, but just goes to show like how long the actual time of this, the elapsed time of this race is going to be. I think it's going to be a lot closer to 3 hours than what I was originally thinking it was going to be, and that's why, again, we're racing so late, and we still have 59 laps to go. Endurance race of the season. I'm wondering if we have to come back here again, like we did in the modified series. I know the truck series only came here once, but that was only 25 races. This is 34 races. And this is so early in the season, too. This is only the 10th race of the year. We're already at our first road course. Largest lead for Harvick, not including the cycling of green flag pit stops, where he stayed out longer than the rest of the field, as he is almost 2.5 seconds ahead. A little bit of a slide into turn 1. Not as bad as turn 2. Turn 3 a lot better that time. Alternate through the different camera angles one final time for the next 4 laps. In tonight's race at the Old Spice Speedway, as we ride along with the 21 Reese's Chevrolet, Kevin Harvick has a very good chance to take the points lead. He comes in 79 points behind Bobby Hamilton Jr. Lost points to him last night with a 16th place finish. That race at California. Don't really think of Harvick as a road course racer, but knowing he's the only Cup Series regular racing today, that probably took a lot of pressure off of him. Probably the best shot at redemption after not having a great finish last night. That hotel does look pretty high. Harvick was side by side all the way through turns 1 and 2. Sean Batson in the 137, who Harvick's racing with. It does look like a pretty good vantage point. The problem is it seems like it doesn't seem like there's a ton of elevation changes around this track, but it does seem like the higher level is back here. And the problem with the hotel too is I feel like this is almost turned backwards. Like where the back part of the hotel is would be facing like where the start finish line and all. No, I guess it would be the front. Now I'm looking at it from like way back here. After just crossing the start finish line, it does kind of look like maybe you would see it. This would be a blind corner right here. You wouldn't be able to see turn 1. We'd probably be able to see like the bridge. Obviously this off the exit of 2 into 3. And circling back around. 4, 5, and 6. There's 7. Right there. We'll get into 8. Rocking and jamming the brakes again. I think you'd see most of the track at least. Harvick a little wide. And he almost cut turn 4 too sharp into the guardrail too. This is probably one of my more favorite underrated Busch Series paint schemes, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's that Reese's is that good. They never really had a lot of like primary sponsored cars in NASCAR in any series, but I always liked this Kevin Harvick 21/29 car he'd run. Because he had the 29 Reese's car in the Cup Series every now and then. More known probably for the Busch Series paint scheme. There are a lot of classic Busch Series paint schemes in these older games I always liked. There's this one. I really like the chartered cars that Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle had in the number 60. Tony Stewart's Old Spice car was always pretty cool. Dale Jr.'s Oreo paint schemes were always pretty good. The Ritz paint schemes as well. Lap 150 at the line this time. I'd say that 50 lap segment was it felt at least a tiny bit quicker than the one before. Well, I guess it should have been because there wasn't any cautions. Again, our last caution that we've had today was at lap 69. Harvick had a pretty good Hershey's paint scheme too. The Hershey Kisses paint scheme. Was that the 2007 game? Oh, I think it was Clint Boyer's Holiday Inn car. That was pretty nice too. There are a lot of good Busch Series paint schemes. Even the Rockwell paint scheme, Denny Hamlin and Mike Bliss in this game has. That's a pretty underrated one. Well, 50 laps to go at the line. Seen a couple drivers take their final pit stops of the day, but those were guys that were nearing or already a lap down. Saying, why not? We get a caution. It takes us out of an even better chance at a better finish, but willing to play that risk. Try and gain whatever track position they can. You know what's like a very underrated paint scheme, I feel like all time, and I'm not talking about Busch Series anymore, like even Cup Series. The Bill Davis Racing 22 cars. Like the Caterpillar, those Caterpillar paint schemes. I don't know why, but I always loved those cars. Whether it was Ward Burton, Dave Blaney, Scott Wimmer, like whoever drove it, like I just loved the Caterpillar paint schemes. Even like Ryan Newman when he had it with the 31 car. I don't know what it is, but the black and yellow on a race car just looks solid. Obviously, the DeWalt cars have always been pretty cool. Kenseth, Eric Jones, now Christopher Bell. Even the Cheerios. The Cheerios paint schemes is another underrated paint scheme from RCR. The ones that Clint Boyer had. And I think Ty Dillon, when he ran part-time in the 33 car one year as well, had some really good Cheerios paint schemes. Like the black and white, or sorry, the black and yellow Cheerios paint schemes, but even like the Cheerios, like with kind of the Honey Nut Cheerio like box color, Like that on a race car, those always look pretty cool too. Harvick was your favorite in the Busch series? Well, at least he's still in the Cup series if you are a big Harvick fan. Write it out, man. I feel like he's like, even if he can't win a race this year, Strahaus is obviously slowly picked up with Almirola winning at New Hampshire, but even Harvick led a decent amount of laps there. If he doesn't win this year, I just like he's just still so consistent. It's not like when you see drivers take a step back and they just look like off, off their normal game. Like Harvick doesn't look too far off his normal game. He's still got quite a few top tens this year. I think he's still tied for second most top tens this season, second or third most top tens this year. So he's still getting good, consistent finishes. He's just not getting a lot of stage points, and that's why he's like 9th or 10th in the regular season standings, or 8th or something like that. Which he's still in the top 10 at points, which again just kind of goes to show that he has had still a good season. He just hasn't won, which is a problem. All these different winners, he's 82 points above the cutoff line now. So even though he's been in the top 10 in points all year. So. New drinking game. Every time we pass Terry Cook, take a drink. He's down a cylinder. It's not really his fault. He's just walking in the laps led. His team put him back out there on the racetrack to suffer with a very slow race car. Trying to get all the points he can, especially in a season-long points format like the Busch and the Truck Series are. This NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2004 video game. A little contact with Jared Holmes off the exit of turn 3 and a little bit into turn 4 as well. Harvick kind of backs out of the gas and lets him go. Now Harvick's out to just over a 5-second lead, halfway through this fuel run right now. Kyle Busch might have pitted already. It's just really tough to tell exactly. He's not far enough ahead to say that he'll definitely stay on the lead lap if he pits right now. So he's going to hold it out. He knows he can run him down pretty quickly on pressure tires too. Plus, if we get a caution, we just pit then. Not have to pit under green for the third and final pit stop. He definitely will not make it to the end of this race on fuel. Harvick clears Jared Holmes off turn 3 this time. He got into him off the exit of turn 3 a few laps ago, and it took him a few more laps just to catch back up to him to get in position to make the pass. Same area of the racetrack that time he cleared him. There's a Mario Kart drinking game before you finish a race. To stop the cart. Trying to read it. Don't have many long straightaways. Oh. So you're saying like try to pull out to like a big lead, stop the cart, chug a beer and then cross the finish line. Try to see if you still win. Is that one you made up, or is that like viral and I have no clue? Can you imagine if Terry Cook had that slow of a car, but we were at Bristol and we'd catch him like every 5 or 6 laps? We'd have like so many more laps. That's a crazy thing. Our Bristol race this season was only 250 laps. 250 laps at Bristol, 15 to 16-second lap times. And then you got this race is 200 on a road course and it takes like 47 seconds at best to get around. Harvick's fastest lap of the race is a 47.091, which was actually during this current green flag run, and more specifically since pitting that last time. Harvick's last stop was at lap 125. And we got some of the drivers inside the top 5 coming to pit road as Harvick will get to 40 laps to go here at the Old Spice Speedway. Still sitting on 2 cautions so far tonight. We had 2 all of last night at California. It's a longer race as far as length. Well, I should say laps time. Again, both races were 300 miles. 300 miles on a road course, quite a bit. That was a bad corner for Kevin Harvick. At least he's got a decent sized lead over second place. I don't think it's viral, but you heard it from someone. Yeah, I've never heard that one. We can make it viral. I don't drink, so I wouldn't be the one to display it, I guess. Thanks for those of you staying up late to watch this race. We are closing in to midnight, which will be at the top of the hour, at least if you're on the East Coast. We're about 20 minutes away from that. That'll be right about the end of this race, as we have just less than 40 to go. 38 laps left to be exact right now. Harvick's lead was out to 5.4 seconds. It's down to about 4.8, 4.9 now. 5 seconds at the line. I'd have some of these leaders maybe hand out the window coming to pit road, and yep, that's exactly why that lead was starting to get back out again. So most of the rest of the leaders are coming in. Harvick continues to lead for the moment. Maybe just kind of planning out, waiting in case we get a caution. Pit under the yellow. Plus he gets into heavy lap traffic, maybe you just pit now. Plenty good on fuel to the end of the race from here. Longest Harvick has gone on fuel 63 laps, so less than 40 to go. Easily can make it to the end from there, which is why you've seen a lot of drivers in those last few laps come to pit road for their final pit stop of the day. Get a 3-stopper from the start of the race. Nobody pitted under the first 2 cautions. Harvick locks the tires into turn 8. Okay, these aren't the tires that'll be ran to the end of the race anyway. Kyle Busch gonna go lap down now. He just came off of pit road. Harvick with a 6.5 second lead now. Oh! Just slapped the wall. Slightly off the exit of turn 2. That's an awkward angle wall too. He got very lucky. Slapped it with the right rear, not the left front, because that would have caused some heavy damage if he got in there with the left front. Whew. Wheel spin even in turn 4 that time for Kevin Harvick. Big moment in turn 7. Drives it deep underneath Terry Cook. Ron Hornaday just came off the pit lane. Another lap car just coming off the pit lane. Harvick gets in front of both of those guys. Harvick again in the wall. And again, kind of slapped the left rear. And again, it was off the exit of turn 2. Surprised he hasn't done that the entire race up until then. In turn 2, how loose he's been the entire race in that corner. Was getting a little bit beat up right now. I don't think it's going to be too much more longer. Kevin Harvick will make his final stop. He could go a little bit longer. Jared Holmes made a bit of a mistake into turn 1. He went way too wide. Harvick drifts all the way through turn 3 to make the pass and put Holmes a lap down. I believe a second lap down, if I'm not mistaken. Guess there's some more lead lap cars making their way to pit road. Got to be at the tail end of the lead lap. Or maybe position-wise, they're running pretty good, but they're actually a lap down. Some of the even slower cars who haven't pit yet, and that actually was somebody who was on the lead lap on the back half of that Harvick just put a lap down when they came to pit road. So Harvick has lapped the field, but it's because they have all made their third and final stops of the race. Harvick's still on the racetrack. He's already clinched the most laps led, so he's not going to stay out to the end of this fuel run. Now that everybody's pit, it's safe for him to pit, so he definitely won't be going a lap down. Heck, he might even come back out the race lead. He had about 4.5 seconds over second place before the pit stop started. Oh, well, about 4.3 to be exact. But considering that he didn't have bigger than a 1.5 lead during the first 2 green flag pit stops of the race, much improvement. Just with all these laps being ran, I mean, each lap is a practice lap to run faster than the one before, to find something different with the speed, adjust the race car throughout to get it to where the driver's liking is. But Harvick and this 21 crew unloaded fast, even without practice or qualifying. And they've impressed here today, to say the least. And with Bobby Hamilton Jr. DNFing, blowing an engine very early in the race, what does that mean for Harvick, assuming he could seal the deal here and find some good luck? It's far from over. We're coming to 29 laps to go this time. Still looks like there's quite a bit of lap traffic, all nose to tail, really midway through the pack. Harvick's really hoping he doesn't get into that kind of congestion to the rest of this race. Doubt there was any two-tire strategies with it being a road course, and I doubt there was any fuel-only strategies, knowing these guys were, for most of them, going to be about 20 to 25 laps short on fuel. Yeah, that's quite a, 20 to 25 extra laps on a road course on the same tires, you're asking for way too much, in my opinion at least. Even this one that's only a mile and a half in length and it's only 8 turns, it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to get to midnight. The closer we're getting now, we're definitely going to get there. We still got 27 laps to go at the line now. Harvick continuing to try and hit his marks. Kyle Busch is finally reining back down on those fresher tires for himself as well, trying to get back on the lead lap. Now that he's putting pressure on Harvick and he ran him down, Harvick's trying to hold him up before Kevin will make his way to pit road. He stays out again, lap 175 at the line. We'll have 26 laps left, and Harvick, I think, is going to commit to pitting this time by now that Busch has finally caught him, because it probably won't be long, and he'll find a way to get around Harvick, and once he does, he's going to start to pull away from him. Hopefully this 21 team doesn't make any mistakes on pit road like they did last time. Had a little over a second slower of a pit stop and ended up coming out about a second off the race lead. Lost time despite being the leader when the pit stop started. Harvick closing in on Terry Cook again. Well, Harvick will be coming to pit road this time. 4 fresh tires and a full tank of fuel. 70 miles an hour is the pit road speed limit. Easily gets down, probably the best he's entered onto pit road all day long. And again, no adjustments. Tiny bit of damage to repair on the 21 car. 25 laps to go when everything cycles through once Harvick pits out of the pits. So again, everybody is good on fuel and tires to the end. And one final backwards pit stop until we go to the next road course race later this year at Watkins Glen. Clean pit stop that time all the way around, 17.2 seconds for Kevin Harvick and his crew. We'll see if they'll cycle out as the leaders or if it'll be Kyle Busch for the 3rd time cycling through as the race leader through green flag stops. And it'll be Harvick. Fast pit stop for Kevin Harvick. He's going to have about a 4-second lead once he gets up to speed on Kyle Busch. And about 10 lap fresher tires. Yeah, a little less than 4 seconds. Still pretty solid. 25 to go. Now he's just hoping it stays green to the finish. Everybody's made their final stop, and if we do get a caution, hopefully there's nowhere around Harvick that he doesn't have to avoid any accidents. Obviously going to have to hope that the lap traffic works with him as well and not holds him up at all. And what kind of adjustments has Kyle Busch made to try and close that gap? It's Drew Campbell in the 131. The Harvick is on the inside right now. Now he'll be on the outside into turn 7. Harvick jams the brakes on those fresher tires, flies by Campbell into turn 8. 23 to go. Welcome back to the chat, Oni. Yeah, I don't know what time. I know what time I start the streams, and this one started at like 9:25 or 9:26. But I need to start like actually keeping track of what time our green flag drops, because I have zero clue how long this race is gonna take until the checkered flag flies and we actually see the elapsed race time. He's at 3.8 seconds. Kyle Busch is in second. Kevin Harvick again is the race leader. Wait, hold up. What's going on, Tim? I think Tim had an epiphany in the chat. Like Bliss in the 20. We talked about that Rockwell paint scheme a little bit earlier. We see it right in front of us. First time since the beginning of the race, really, that we've seen him. Harvick didn't practice or qualify, started out back, and Mike Bliss started towards the back of the field as well. Kevin Harvick ran his own race team for the Truck Series and the Busch. Whatever happened to that? Well, this was at this time it was Richard Childress Racing. He didn't race for his own team back in 2004. He was still relatively young. He was only 3 years into the Cup Series by this time, so he didn't have his own team then. And I'm pretty sure he sold his team to DGR Crosley, if I'm not mistaken. His Truck Series team. I don't know what happened to the Busch Series team with Kevin Harvick Incorporated. Maybe they still run part time. I have no clue. I know the Truck Series team runs part time because that's technically who Ryan Preece ran for when he won at Nashville, and then he made another truck start at Pocono as well. Harvick struggling to get around Mike Bliss. He'll drive it deep into turn 3 and get around him there, down to the apron, but that lead's cut down to 3.6 seconds. Busch must have caught a lap car in a bad spot, too, because it was down to 3 flat. Now it's back to 3.6 once Harvick finally got around Bliss. Harvick had that great of a corner, which is now Sheldon Creed. He owned the 2 Hunt Brothers pizza truck. Yes, that's true. The 2 is for GMS, though, so GMS would have bought the rights to the number 2, but I don't think that GMS has anything to do with Kevin Harvick Incorporated. Down cylinder, Terry Cook is right around us again, holding up Casey Atwood and a couple other lap cars that Harvick gets around. I think Elliott Sadler did run that 2 car for just a year or two before going to Junior Motorsports. I think he went to Junior Motorsports as like the last 2 or 3 years of his Xfinity Series career. But those first few years, he jumped back to Xfinity. You're right. Elliott Sadler did drive for him. Another passive lap car for Harvick. In turn 3, no surprise it was at that end of the racetrack. Back out to just over a 4-second lead once again. A 4.1. 17 laps to go at the line for Harvick. .208 that last lap. Somewhat fresher tires still. Only about 8 to 9 lap old tires. I was trying to run him down in the lap traffic. It's a little less than 4 seconds off the lead. When Harvick came out of the pits, it's up to a 4.2 second lead now. So Harvick's pulled ahead maybe 0.2 of a second total over the last 8 or 9 laps. So they're pretty even with one another now that they're both in heavy lap traffic. But again, it's going to take a lot more for Busch to really catch Harvick. 86 car of Shane Kirkland on the outside of Harvick. Harvick down low into turn 1. Guns it by Kirkland, had him clear before even getting into turn 2. Kirkland overdrives turn 3, trying to maybe get back underneath Harvick, but Harvick was able to get down to the apron, and Kirkland's like, no, I can't go that low. He doesn't own a... Oh, jeez. He doesn't own a full-time Xfinity or Truck Series team. Not by himself, at least. I think he might have, like, part ownership in DGR Crossley, but I'm not 100% sure on that. They might use, like... Well, they wouldn't even use his engines because it's a spec engine, so I don't know. I know for a fact he doesn't full-time in the Truck Series. I want to say probably like 2018-ish is probably 2017, somewhere around there. It was the last year that we saw Kevin Harvick incorporated full-time in the Truck or the Busch Series. Well, it is now midnight Eastern Standard Time. My goodness, what a race. 13 laps to go, this time by a 4.3 second lead for Kevin Harvick, and the only thing coming in between him and the checkered flag is a caution. And this is a mighty long green flag run. We are now 120 laps into this green flag run. 2 cautions in the first 69 laps were the only 2 cautions of the day so far. Harvick is just picking up and putting down lap traffic. Good win after a heartbreaker last night. Yeah, because even when Harvick ran those couple of Xfinity Series races this season, he ran under a different team. He ran for BJ McLeod Motorsports, and I forget what other team he ran for. Because I want to say he's made 3 Xfinity starts this season. And it wasn't for Kevin Harvick Incorporated. I know for a fact the one race was for BJ McLeod. I think that was... I want to say that was at Road America. Harvick got really loose in turn 7. Haven't seen him get that loose all day long, let alone... Especially at that end of the track. He hasn't been that loose really in turn 7 since the very beginning of the day. Yeah, he had a couple cars. And a couple trucks, too. It was more than just a single truck or car team. I think when Harvick... I think there's some affiliation, again, with DGR Crossley and Kevin Harvick Incorporated. Maybe DGR bought out Kevin Harvick Incorporated. Maybe that's why there's a little bit of an alliance there, because when Harvick drove the truck race at not Eldora, when he drove the truck race at Dirt Bristol earlier this season, he drove the 17 truck, which was the same truck that Priest ran. It was a Hunt Brothers truck, and it was funded by Kevin Harvick, if I'm not mistaken. Or it was funded by DGR Crossley, but then again, there was something to do with Kevin Harvick Incorporated with it too, just like there was with Ryan Priest when he ran that truck a couple weeks ago. I guess like a month ago now, but still. What a mighty long race this has been. Really kind of dialed down just before those final pit stops of the race. Harvick finally started to pull away. Really the final 60 to 65 laps. Kyle Busch hasn't really been able to close within that 3-second gap in quite some time. Under 3 seconds, I should say. He did get it down to 3 seconds briefly during this final tire stint to the end of the race, but it wasn't for more than a lap or two. We're pulling back away. It's just where you're catching the lap cars. Good spot, bad spot. Al Wiggins about to go another lap down. 8 laps to go at the line, and we know that there's no green, white, checker finishes, I guess, in the Busch Series with this game, because the race ended under yellow with a caution with 4 laps to go last night at California. And I swear, if we get a green, white, checker finish, I'm going to be pretty upset if we have one in the Busch Series, knowing that we should have had one last night. Tyler Burbeck, welcome to the stream. Rumors going around that Trackhouse might field a car for the Indy 500. I haven't heard anything about that, but I haven't really watched hardly any NASCAR YouTube at all this week. Kind of took the week off of it. I did kind of miss that there was no race on Sunday, though. That's the only thing that felt odd about this break. Which, you know, there's off weeks every now and then, so it wasn't too odd. But not seeing the race on next weekend, too, it's like, man, again, there's no race? Gotta wait another week. A week and a half yet for the next Cup race. Watkins Glen. I'll be at 2 of the next 3 races, though. Won't be at Watkins Glen, but I'll be at the Indianapolis Road Course for the Brickyard 400, and I'll be at Michigan that following weekend. And then 4 weeks after Michigan, I'll be at Bristol for the night race as well. So, got a few more races I'm still going to, and I also plan on going to Martinsville before the end of the season as well. So about a month and a half after Bristol. Well, actually, it's almost, about a month and a half after Bristol. It's Halloween weekend, I know. I think the race is actually on Halloween this year, too. Big slide for Harvick. 4.3 second lead. That's up to 4.8. Busch trying to close again. Maybe one last gasp. Cody Holt in the 56 car is the next lap car ahead of Kevin Harvick. 5 laps to go this time by for Happy Harvick. You are right, Oni. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode will continue. Playoff race at Las Vegas. It'll be the round of 12 opener. Back to having race for points again. Well, 4 to go this time by. Harvick gets there, that should secure the win up, assuming he's not the one involved in the accident. Obviously, as long as Kyle Busch doesn't run him down the final 4 laps of the race, the lead is just under 4 seconds at the line. 3.8 briefly, but then Harvick has a straightaway speed down the longest straightaway of the track, pulls it back to 4 by the time they get into turn 1. But Kyle Busch is, I mean, he is pushing about as hard as he can right now. Harvick doesn't really have any intentions of passing Cody Holt. I mean, Busch is going to have to be a second a lap quicker than Harvick if he's going to catch him before the end. Which isn't impossible, I guess, but the start of this lap, he's actually lost 0.2 of a second, so. And there's still a few more lap cars between Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick as well. And Harvick will pass Holt if he gets an opportunity, and I guess he'll get around him in turn 8. Flat out outbroke him, cleared him. 3 to go. 4.3 second lead, gain another 1/10 of a second, even making that pass. Who is Eddie Sharp? Quick Google search. Who's getting into the braking zone? Didn't lock the tires up that time, but car was kind of jaggedy getting into turn 8. 2 laps to go now for Kevin Harvick. Eddie Sharp Racing. I don't even know who that is. I've never heard of Eddie Sharp. Did he sell his Busch team or his truck team to Eddie Sharp? Or both? I'll have to look into that if I probably won't remember to do it. I'm not even going to say anything. Say I'll try to remember to do something like that, and I'll forget we even talked about it by starting tomorrow. Probably take until the next Busch race with Kevin Harvick here before I remember that ever happened. Well, lap 200. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Kevin Harvick. Dominated and led over 100 laps here today in this race. We had just 2 leaders this entire race. Nobody has led outside of Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch. What a show both these two drivers put on, but especially these final 65 laps. Busch couldn't even keep up with Harvick in those final 65 laps, including this final tire stint fuel run to the finish. One more corner. 4.6 seconds is the difference getting in. Checker flag in the air. Big redemption race for Kevin Harvick after a rough 16th place finish at California. Harvick wins the Ice Shanty 300 at Old Spice Speedway. Oh, you know what? We gotta do it. We gotta do a burnout on the bridge. I was gonna do a burnout right there, and I started, and I was like, wait a minute. We gotta do it on the bridge. So we won at Old Spice Speedway in the Truck Series, we won here in the Modified Series, and now we've won here in the Busch Series. So we're 3 for 3 at Old Spice Speedway on the NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup video game. I do have to say, this is probably the easiest of the 3, I guess you would say. I think with how long the race was, we were just able to pull away. I mean, again, it was close between us and Kyle Busch the first 2/3 of the race. Those final 65 laps, we finally, once we got away from him in lap traffic, and we pulled away, and once we got out to the 3-second lead, he never got back below that 3-second deficit. Oh, Nationwide moved to RCR. I have no clue who Eddie Sharp is. Does he still run a race team, or do you, like, sell out immediately? Burn the bridge down. There we go. The burnout on the bridge. 2 hours and 52 minutes for a Busch Series race. So that's got to be the longest Busch/Xfinity Series race we've ever done in the channel's history. I think it's safe to say. I mean, these races, it's a rarity for these races to take longer than 2 hours, and this one took almost 3 hours. But I kind of knew after last night's race finished, knowing that this was the next race, We likely weren't going to be able to get. I mean, our Cup race for NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode probably would have actually been quicker than this, and probably would have been worth doing tonight, and then doing this tomorrow. But oh well. I guess rules are going to be reversed. Take a look at your finishing results. Again, Kevin Harvick with a dominating win. He led 169 of the 200 laps today. The only other laps, again, led by pole sitter Kyle Busch, who led 31 laps today. A lot of those in the first half of the race, and nobody else led a lap. Ron Hornaday, great run. He finished third. Ashton Lewis finished fourth. Lewis started 35th as well. Actually, of all the drivers in the top 5, Kyle Busch was the only one to start inside the top 24 to actually still finish in the top 5. That's pretty incredible. He had the track position. He kept it. Can't say the same for anybody else. Hermie Sadler rounds out the top 5. He has some great pit strategy. He pitted early throughout all 3 pit stops today, and I think that's what helped him gain a lot of his track position. Good top 5 for Hermie. Kenny Walls finishes 6th. Jason Keller finished 7th. J.J. Yaley 8th. David Stremme 9th. And Brown rounds out the top 10. And we had 16 drivers finish on the lead lap in this one, with a couple of DNFs. Mathers, Bobby Hamilton Jr. finished 42nd. He came in as a points leader. He blew an engine. Dwayne Borland, Chapman DNF. We saw Terry Cook finish the race, but very slow. Tim Fedewa blew an engine as well. He had spun earlier in the race and then ended up exiting the race, I guess, about lap 146. Hart also DNF'd. So considering Cook came back out to pass, I guess 4 cars, I mean, it was worth it for him. 4 more positions, more points for him. So factoring in that he finished, we had 6 DNFs here tonight in this very long Busch Series race. I don't think we're ever going to have a Busch Series race longer than that one on the channel. We only had 2 cautions. There wasn't a lot of cautions that slowed the race pace down. It was just that long of a race. 300 miles on a road course. I mean, to put it into perspective, our next race on a short track at Richmond, a short track is 250 laps, and we just ran 200 on a road course. In the Busch Series, not even the Cup Series. At least we don't have to find out on the bright side of things how long that Old Spice Speedway race would take with the Cup Series, because it's not on the actual Cup Series schedule for 2004. Well, it's not on the actual Busch Series schedule either, but because they don't have like all the one-off tracks in this game for the Busch Series, that's why they have some of the fantasy tracks on the schedule. They did the same thing with the truck and the modified series, of course. And outside of Pocono, everything's normal with the Cup Series in this game. All right, so yeah, that's gonna do it. And yeah, I mean that's a wrap, I guess. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Hopefully, you guys like this race. It was a long one, but it was a fun one. Always nice to see racing on a road course, especially the fantasy road courses with these older NASCAR EA Sports video games. We'll be back on the channel tomorrow again at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Likely not going to get a doubleheader in tomorrow due to, well, this race taking forever tonight. So I think we could take the day off with NASCAR 05 tomorrow. If I do run Richmond, it'll probably be early in the afternoon. So if you have that notification button on, you may be able to catch the race. But other than that, you can definitely plan on NASCAR Heat 5 at 6. So hopefully I see you guys, most of you, if not all of you, tomorrow night. We'll have a good night then as well. Take care, everybody.